War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. We cover the whole of the Auburn experience here on this live stream, on all of our content across our network, YouTube, podcast, social media, everything in between. And we thank you for joining us for this live stream. Whether you're watching it live or you're watching on the replay, we appreciate you hanging out with us and spending some time with us to talk about what we love about being part of the Auburn family. As has been the case on every single Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the longest time that I can remember, this is all about you. This is your questions, your comments, your calls even. It's a call-in show, your show. You pick the topics, you pick the direction that we go. A lot of the times I even have a topic prepared for us. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm letting you guys just dictate the whole thing tonight. Where we start, where we go from here. Do not be shy. Share your thoughts, your comments, your questions, and your calls, because I'm opening up the call lines right now, right at the start. No waiting. Hit the link in the comment section or the description. I think it's in there as well, if you want to take part in this live stream broadcast. You can be on camera or off camera. It doesn't matter. It is now available to you. But before you do all of that, please do help us out by doing a couple of things here. This is our check-in period. Make sure you right now post where you're watching from, city, state, international, in the comments. Even if you're watching on the replay, a lot of you are already doing that, and thank you so much. Hit the like button. Smash the like button, whatever you want to call it, the share button on Facebook, Twitter, retweets, all that kind of stuff. Share it in a Facebook group. Let's blast everybody, get them in here to be part of our little family within the Auburn family. And you guys, as always, are the best little family within the Auburn family. Linda's checking in. Good to see you. From Lake Martin, where the fish are not biting this week. Well, it is those lazy days of summer as we're getting into. I know technically summer. By the way, can you guys hear me okay? It sounds a little low in my headphones, and I got kind of started in a little bit of a frantic nature tonight because of, if you can tell behind me a little bit, I know I can't move a lot because I'll stay away from the microphone. I have a new bookshelf behind me, and so I'm kind of playing with lighting and things again, as I always tend to do. The work never stops when you're a content creator, trying to give you guys the best possible content, and that includes messing with things in the background. So that is why I'm kind of like also like scanning into the camera here too, seeing how everything sounds, looks. So if there's any things that you guys pick up on, let me know. Brian, good to see you from Minnesota. We haven't had Minnesota checking in quite some time, but it is good to hear from you. So thanks for tuning in. John Stokes, one of our channel members and Booster Club members. Devin checking in from Texas. Moody, Alabama. James, or Bo. James, I do remember it's Bo most of the time. Thomas from Leeds. A lot of our regular cast, some new faces, some new names. Thank you guys so much for choosing to hang out with us tonight on this live stream. Let's talk about what you want to discuss. We're going to bounce around a lot tonight. There's a lot of things that I could potentially hit, things that I want to talk about, but I do a regular, I'm not calling it a daily yet, but a regular mini audio-visual podcast for you guys, where I get to offer my thoughts all the time. So you guys get to hear what I want to talk about. What do you specifically want to discuss tonight? Chandler on Facebook, good to see you. Dusty checking in. A lot of people already tuning in. You guys rock for being here early and on time, much unlike myself. I was about 2 minutes late today. I know. Again, messing with all the background stuff back there. The good thing is y'all can't see all the dust from like moving things around. And I still, in this little section right here, I know it's usually blocked by the arm of this, but I'm going to probably move a poster down here to kind of cover up this bank space that's behind the door that opens. I know I'm giving you guys like all the insights that you really didn't want to know about, but this is what happens on this show. Chandler wants to talk baseball. Well, we can certainly do that. What specifically about baseball would you like to talk about? As a reminder, we are doing regular weekly baseball / softball live streams on Monday night. But I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of an insight. I'm going to be gone next week. I'm going on vacation. So there will not be a Monday night live stream. There will not be a Wednesday night live stream, but I am working to get you guys some videos to see throughout the week. At the very least, one that'll go live on 8 p.m. Next Wednesday, when we would normally be going live here, that you can watch and tune in. Something a little bit cool and unique. I'm trying to get to it. I have so much on my plate that I'm trying to get done before we go on vacation, though. I'm working too much here. War Dustbuster Grandpa's not in here, is he? I don't know, but usually the spammers that have been blasting all of YouTube are going to probably be here any minute now. They're probably waiting for the moment to get mentioned, which there you go. Let's see. Chandler, can we take 2 of 3 from UK? That is a great question. So for those of you that don't know, Auburn baseball has a humongous series. Didn't think you'd be saying that about Kentucky at the beginning of the season. In baseball in Lexington this week. Essentially, Auburn is playing for its top 4 position in the SEC tournament, which gives them that bye into the double elimination round, forces them or forces the issue for them not have to play in the single elimination first round of the SEC tournament. They're vying for a regional, but to also host the entire way through to the College World Series if they can be a national seed. So there is a lot. There's a lot at stake with baseball this weekend. Can we take 2 out of 3? Based off what I've seen this baseball team do, the way I've seen them respond to adversity, my answer to that is yes. The problem is you're playing Kentucky, who has been the first team and the only team this year to take down Tennessee in an SEC series. It's going to be tough to do. So it's a great question to start off. Let's see. Devin, I'll come back to, I saw some football questions. We'll come back to those in just a second. Can you explain how the postseason for baseball works? I'm new to the College World Series. Well, those of you, when I say this, please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, but it's very much similar to softball. So if you will go check out, I just did what you need to know video for softball. Kind of breaks down what to expect for Auburn softball, but it's the same kind of structure. You're going to have a double elimination regional tournament with 4 teams to start off with. Hopefully Auburn's hosting. The winner of that moves on to super regionals, which will play the winner of another 4-team regional in super regionals in a 3-game series. After that point, 8 teams will be in the College World Series. They'll split into 2 groups of 4, play another double elimination style tournament, and then the final 2 teams will play a 3-game series for the national title. Very similar in softball and baseball, unless that's changed and I didn't know about it, but hope that makes sense. The video I did about softball will explain a lot of that, though. Let's back up here. Kyle, give us a breakdown, star on defense, offense for the upcoming season. So I guess you are talking about football when you say this. And you guys too, please do call in if you'd like to have your take in on any of these topics that we're discussing tonight or anything that we haven't discussed just yet. Breakout star, offense and defense. Breakout star on offense would probably be one of 2 people, Malcolm Johnson Jr. or Tavares Dawson. Wide receivers. We need somebody to be a breakout star at wide receiver. So that's what I'm going to go with there. Let's see. Defensive wise, I feel like it'll come out of the defensive backfield because that's the unit that lost the most. Not that it would be a breakout star, but I feel like Nehemiah Pritchett, we're going to really need him to become that lockdown corner that we're missing in Roger McCreary. So breakout years, Nehemiah Pritchett, and one of those 2 wide receivers, if that's just kind of a quick answer to your question. Let's see. Corey, so we got a new president now. Do you think we will retain Alan Green? Well, there's a lot of this discussion coming up. Apparently, he went on Paul Feinbaum talking about not just the Harsin situation, but his own situation. I think Alan Green has done enough to show that he has programs heading in the right direction. He has made some decent hires and retentions. No one will take away from Jay Jacobs that he hired Bruce Pearl, but also no one will take away from Alan Green that he did what he needed to do to retain Bruce Pearl. So that alone in and of itself, the thing that every athletic director in the SEC is measured by is how their football program is doing. And, 1 year, I think rushing to judgment and saying that's a failure is very quick. But I understand people's frustrations when it takes a big dip. You asked for it, though. There I go again, stirred up stuff. So do I think we'll retain him? I think that's up to Alan Green. And I think that is, I don't see Chris Roberts, our new president, wanting to come in and make waves. I think he understands that Auburn's been through enough right now. I don't know when his contract runs up. If anybody knows that, you can share that in the chat window, but let me know. Clint's probably lurking somewhere in the background. The bots only show up when he's around. Well, he wasn't here on Monday night, and they showed up. Yeah, so apparently I did explain it correctly, and Devin, you can go check that out, but I hope that helped you a little bit. I'm still in disbelief at your explanation of baseball postseason. Well, Chandler, I've been doing this for 8 years, some version of podcasting, YouTubing, content creation. Chandler and I go way back. That's why he likes to give me a lot of crap. Oh, we got some clarification from Linda. Contract renews in January. Well, this will be in a very important football season for him, won't it? Not unfortunately, but like, I mean that not in like, I don't want or not to keep Alan Green. I think those decisions will probably be made long before then. So I don't know that will even factor into it. I think Alan Green has done enough as an athletic director, show that he's got the whole of the Auburn sports experience heading in the right direction. And one thing shouldn't weigh that down, but it is football and it is king. And that is going to drive people mad. What do I think about Jay Fair? I'm cautiously optimistic about him. For some reason, when he first got on the team or committed, I had in my mind that he was a taller guy, but he's actually on the shorter side, but is known for his speed. We've had some success with shorter, speedy wide receivers before, but that was under a different style offense. Granted, will probably be a somewhat different offense this year. So my feelings is that everybody has a wide open opportunity here to make a name for themselves, especially at the wide receiver position. So my hope for a guy like Jay Fair is he can seize the wide gap that's been created in that unit with nobody seizing it as their own. There's no Sammy Coates there yet in terms of a dominant leader and on and off the field. Now, Shedrick, to his credit, glad he stayed. And he's one of my favorite players, but he's very much a Cody Burns type of guy. He is a reliable wide receiver for the most part. He's not going to wow you a whole lot, but he will. And I say that with all the love in the world for Shedrick, but you got to have a wow guy. Can Jay Fair be one of those guys? Potentially. But every one of these guys has the opportunity, the talent. Now you just got to seize it. So it's more of a broad answer to your question, Devin. But I would like to see a couple of weeks worth of tape on these new guys before making decisions like that. Green's contract is up in July. Hold on. Is that? Okay, so we got a clarification. It is January. Okay. Making sure we have the correct thing there. What is your opinion on the depth chart on the defensive side for the upcoming fall? I know it's just your opinion. Well, we're probably going to do some more in-depth discussions about this on this channel, probably some edited videos I'll put out for you guys. But just kind of to give you an overarching answer, I feel really good about defensive line, even though there probably still are some depth issues, lack of depth in certain areas. I feel pretty decent about linebacker, but that is contingent upon Owen Pappoe. And if he's not able to stay healthy the entire season, then that's going to open up just everybody's got their opportunity at offensive at linebacker. And can the young guys step up? If Owen's not there, my fear is we're going to have I shouldn't say fear. My thought process is it's going to be a lot like wide receiver, a lot of opportunity. Is there someone who's ready to seize it? Defensive backfield, I actually feel a lot better about the defensive backing, even with losing Smoke Monday, Ladarius Tennyson, Roger McCreary. I feel like I'm missing some else. Another question is Zion Puckett at safety. If Zion is healthy and is ready to go, I just spoke about this when we broke down the latest transfer, a safety coming in for us. We are about 3 deep there at safety alone. And that means that some of those guys can move over maybe into a nickel position too. Maybe even the newest one in McDonald. I like the depth, but there are, 2 key injuries that I think are going to determine Auburn's success, and that's Zion Puckett, Owen Peppo. Can they stay healthy? If they do, Auburn's going to have a great defense. Wow. Let's see here. Wow, a lot of questions tonight. I'd love for you guys to call in and give some of your answers to these too. Thomas, favorite Auburn football game you've been to? Favorite Rod Bramblett call? Oh, don't do that. Oh my goodness. Favorite Auburn football? The Rod one's the one that's going to get me. Favorite Auburn football game? So many. Okay, can we just, for both of those answers, can we just take the kick six off the table, right? Because I mean that there's no discussion if you have kick six on the table. So let's remove that. I was at the kick six, and that call is amazing. Go Crazy Cadillac is probably my favorite call. You can see behind me, there's Cadillac right now. I have an autographed picture of him. He's my favorite Auburn football player of all time. I literally lost my marbles when I saw that man go 80 yards on the first play of the game after a very frustrating 2003 year and just embarrassed the heck out of the Crimson Tide that early. So Go Crazy Cadillac, go crazy will always stick in my mind. That it's probably that and the kick six call. Favorite Auburn football game? Gosh, man. It's hard to beat the rain game against West Virginia. A lot of these are going to go back to when I was a student. The rain game. I'm going to stick with that for now. If I think of another one, I can think of 1,000 of them, but I'm trying to think of one that really sticks in my mind. So we'll go with the rain game for now. Let's see here. We got a specific date of the contract ending. There you go. How do you think Malik will do at the Titans, Kyle? I'm happy he found a home to play at. Malik? Oh, Malik Willis. I was like, how do I think he'll do? From what all the commentators say, this is probably about the best situation he could find himself in. I'm very much going to be someone who follows his career because I like the way you win a lot of respect for me when you come out as much as people want to make about the failure of Auburn or Gus Malzahn of not retaining Malik Willis, which it was not. The kid himself admitted that was on me. That takes guts. That takes, humility that not a lot of star players have. And this is a guy that became a star player at Liberty, but still a star player, got ranked high, not as high as he should have probably. And he still admits, I did not win the Auburn job because I did not get A done, B done, C done. That takes a lot of humility, and that takes a lot of guts to say that out in the open like that. So I'm happy he found a home like you. I find myself rooting for Malik Willis more than I do any other former Auburn player. Does that make sense? Like, he didn't finish his time at Auburn, but there's always going to be a slight affinity to it. Southeastern Kaiju, I guess you're talking about when I was talking about that game, the Go Crazy game. Would be nice to see Dylan Brooks, our defensive lineman, step up. Well, he certainly did at A-Day, right? A-Day, he was looking pretty good. And by all accounts, he's one of the guys making noise from the spring outside of the A-Day game. So you may get your wish. There's a lot that opportunity abounds across the Auburn football team. Who wants it? Who wants it the most? That's the question we need to be asking. And that's the question I think will be answered later on this year. Dusty, I saw you change your Twitter pic because you took me off yours. I'm kidding. I feel honored when anybody wants me to put me in their profile pic, but I think your mom is much deserving of that. at the rain game. I was wondering which game that was. I saw it was very like, obviously they're very humid or game where it rained. All right, a little bit of a basketball question. I really want Jabari to go first, but I really want him to go to the Thunder. I spoke a little bit about this today on Everton Podcast. If you haven't, please do go check that out. And by the way, if there's any, even right now, if you guys want to give me a suggestion for a quick mini podcast episode to do in the future, you could drop them here. Just write in your comment ETP and then your question. That way I know it's for that. I may tackle that because, you know, the new, I try to keep it news related, relevance with what's going on right then, conversations that are happening in social media, especially. I've got one for tomorrow that I think you'll enjoy. But if you'd like one tackled in a future Everton podcast, you can watch it here or follow along on a podcast format. I'll do that if you put that here. Anyway, I spoke about this today. I really want Chuma and Jabari to be together. But I don't want that to be the only reason he goes there. I really want that number 1 overall pick. I don't want that to be the only reason he goes. I want Jabari to go where he has the most direct path to success that he can have. Because I still think he's got a little bit of growing to do, and that's in sense of putting probably on some muscle and things like that. That's just my opinion. But he is such a talent, and he's such a great role model too. I want to see him do well, and I want him in the best possible position to continue to rise in that star power that he has, because he's earned every bit of it and he handles it well. So if that's at the Thunder, yes. If that's at the Rockets, yes. I hear everyone's praying that he doesn't go to the Kings. Apparently they're the worst team in the world now or something like that. But we can dream, right, that the Magic will magically take him in number 1, because that's a double win for the Auburn fans. A number 1 overall pick, Chuma and Jabari together. How much better does it get than that? Let's see. I'm ready to go triple gut punch from running backs this year. I expect to see big things from the run game. That is, if the OC will step up. Well, let me ask you guys a question off of what he just said here. How long until, I got to figure out how to frame this question. Like, how many games does Eric Keesaw get at OC to figure things out? Meaning before he starts showing a trajectory, a positive trajectory. Because in my mind, if you're being realistic, you need to give him this year. That doesn't mean it won't ever turn in a positive way in the most important games. But I think we all need to sit back and let Harson's system. This is what we as a collective decided, right? Whether you were a fan of Malzahn or not, as a collective, as a university, as a program, we decided we wanted to go in a different direction. Let's let him figure that direction out, and let's let his people figure that direction out. His people are Keesaw, Schmedding, all the other people that he's brought in. Let him figure it out. Give him this year. And then we can start talking about that next year. But just to your point, what does stepping up mean? What is that parameters when you want to see a trajectory? Is it 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, the year, what have you? Carrie, do I think Roger will be good on the Titans? Put a video out about him, and we've had a lot of Titans fans kind of tune into that and offer their thoughts. They seem very optimistic about his future as a Titan, in maybe even immediately. So really, I think, again, we talk a lot about opportunity tonight. The opportunity abounds for Roger McCreary. It seems like he's going to get a very legitimate shot at that. They're doing a lot of promoting him to social media wise, the Titans are. But yeah, I think that he could potentially have a great year early on. Oh, we got an ETP question. How do baseball scholarships work at Auburn? Do out-of-state recruits have to pay a portion of tuition? And if so, why? Wow, those are deep questions. I'll have to do some. So those are going to probably require me to do a little research, but I will add them to the list, Linda. And if I forget about them, let me know. Do you think that the defensive line transfers Jason Jones and Jeffrey Imba will make an impact in the rotation this season? Yes. Because my hope is that Jeffrey Imba is every bit of the crazy talent that he seems to be. I'm not expecting Jason Jones to come in and just make waves, but I think he's a guy that can come in, learn this year, get some significant playing time, and maybe take over next year. It will be our luck that Jabari will go drafted to the Knicks and be labeled a loser for the rest of his career. So that's what I mean. I want him to go to the best possible situation. I agree. He needs a season, talking about the OC. That being said, I think we will see a positive trajectory pretty quick. He and Harsin are on the same page, and I remain optimistic about this season. I think you should always be optimistic about an Auburn football season, because even when they are supposed to be down, they prove people wrong time and time again. Now, does that always happen? No. Does it happen 50% of the time? No. But more often than not, when the chips are down, Auburn's not expected to do a whole lot. In football, they do a lot more than people expect. I think this year, again, has a lot of potential for them. It's going to be even tougher than last year, because the away schedule is going to be, even with Penn State at home, is going to be very, very difficult. But you should always be optimistic and hope for the best, prepare for the worst. You do that, I found personally, you live a much happier, healthier life. But that's just me. Who is the best player on defense this year for football? If Owen can stay healthy, Owen. Other than that, it's going to be Derek Hall. I think Derek Hall is poised to make himself some big, 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 big money next year. I'm so glad we have him for another year. Do I think Walker Kessler will be first round? Yes. I think most of the projections have him going like dead last in the first round, which is either, as long as he goes, I don't care. I think what he needs is a solid combine and the right team. I don't know what teams need centers, traditional centers, because that's what he is. And whether that's a starter or a depth piece, Walker Kessler, if he finds the right team and he has a good combine, I think he for sure goes in the first round. But there's still, I'll say, a lot that could unfold that doesn't work in his favor. It happened with Sharif and JT JT probably went a little bit higher than most expected him. But Sharif, I think, fell back a little bit too. Ooh, Dusty. Has UGA hate surpassed Bama hate? If so, why? That one may be one I actually am able to do kind of soon, because that requires basically no research. It just requires anecdotal discussion. So you might, if I remember, Dusty, that one might be coming up very soon. Like I said, I try to keep it on things that are happening, but as we get deeper and deeper into summer, discussions are going to slow down, especially in June. I'm not saying that's when I'm going to do that one, but just, I'll require some suggestions from you guys, because this channel is about you guys. This show particularly is about you guys. That's what I want it to be about. You know what? It's funny. You'll see a lot of people that are adamant that your titles, that your descriptions all have to be framed a certain way to be successful on YouTube. And that's probably true, but there's only so much of that I can do without it feeling inauthentic. And that's why I'm not saying we're going to switch back to calling these shows just the live stream with a date on it every single time. Because if there's something super pertinent, we're going to put that as the title and we're going to focus on that. But like when we get to football season again, we'll probably call these our, preview shows or something like that. We'll see. I don't know. Things change rapidly here. You guys have been there long enough to know that. So we'll assess that when we get to it. But I don't know why I even started talking about that. That's what happens. Answer: because UJ fans are trash. There's something. They are something. Again, the call number is up. If you guys would like to take advantage of it, in the top of the chat window, click on that, call in, say hello. Let me see your smiling face, maybe. Would love to hear from some of y'all tonight. I would hope they utilize Tank better this year. Like in the USC game last year, they chose to throw deep on 4th and 1, but should have instead run the ball. Well, there's a couple things that got to go with that. You got to go with what the defense is giving you. If they're giving you room to do that, you've got to, if it's throw deep, or if it's throw a longer pass than a 1-yard pass, do that, but you got to complete the pass and throw a good throw. You got to catch the ball. All the timing's got to be down. The thing is, though, it's very easy for us to sit there and say 4th and 1, run the ball, especially with Tank. The offensive line has not proven they can get that job done. And that's not just off of 1 or 2 instances. That is multiple instances. Now, that's all last year, the previous years. It's a clean slate. They got to prove that we can trust them, that the running backs can trust them, that the offensive coordinator and the play callers can trust him. We'll see. Thomas, I've been rewatching games Harsin called as an OC and head coach, and I'm really optimistic about the offense based on the players we have per position. Absolutely. The difference is, though, when he was OC, I think he was co-OC at Texas, so he had a little bit of extra help there, and that's not taking anything away from him. There's a lot of things from his past that should make you optimistic. The thing, though, that I think we forget when we rewatch those things, and I'm not saying you're wrong, Thomas, but just a thought here. We forget that times change, and it's been 10 years since he was an OC. The game changed, the speed changed, the strategies changed. I mean, probably about that time, the no huddle was just coming into prominence, and now it's basically not even there. Now we're all RPOs and all this other stuff. So just because he was successful then as a play caller doesn't mean he's going to be successful now, but he got to this high position for a reason. So be optimistic, but cautiously optimistic. We should make Dusty a positions coach for football. He's got fire coach needs to get something done. Well, I'm sure he would love that position. Who do you think is the best wide receiver? Cedric Jackson? Well, I think he's the most proven right now. Doesn't mean he's the best. Talent-wise, I feel like Camden Brown is probably the dark horse there. I feel like Malcolm Johnson has got an opportunity there, but definitely Cedric right now is the most reliable. Does that mean best? Probably for now, but until then, we'll have to leave it at that. It was the second quarter on the 30. We lead 14-7. Just punt it. No need to run or pass there. No excuse. And Corey, you're wild. I love it when Corey and Dusty get their own side conversations going. Receivers just need to catch the ball. That's all I ask this season. Well, it might be asking a lot. I say that just poking fun at them. They do a lot better job than I ever could or ever would. But a new offensive coach, new wide receiver coach, they're all going to require time. So let's give them that. There's going to be a lot of mistakes made. There's going to be a lot of inefficiencies that still have to be worked out. It's going to require at least half a season, if not the full season, to completely right the ship. You can right the ship, but it's still kind of wobble off course a little bit, right? That can happen. That probably often happens. It's never just we righted it and now it's completely straight ahead. Sometimes it takes a minute. You might kind of, if it's going off this way, you might veer back this way, and then all kind of overcompensated. So overcompensate back this way, and eventually you find we're there. James says Omari Kelly. I want to believe that Omari Kelly can make a name for himself this season, but he hasn't been on campus too, I believe. So it's hard to make a judgment call based off not seeing him yet. And I guess you could say the same thing for Camden Brown. I'm an Auburn fan. I'm always on caution, but well played, sir. Well played. I think we will see a big improvement with Hilliard as coach now and might even open up the running game more. Well, definitely. If your receivers can catch the ball, right? It sure as heck gives the quarterback confidence. It gives the offensive line confidence that when they are struggling at run blocking, that they can still move the ball, take some pressure off of them, force the defense to kind of adjust to that and give them some room to operate. It's a team. It's the ultimate team sport for a reason. One person doesn't do their job, it all falls apart. Just imagine what happens when multiple positions, multiple units aren't doing their job. Just remember, the good news is we don't have Scott Loeffler as offensive coordinator, where every week we get worse. Y'all, I was much more fiery when I was younger. I know that's not a shock to anybody. I despised me some Scott Loeffler, as I called him. Probably more than Franklin back the last year of Tommy Tuberville. I nicknamed Scott Loeffler. It was not good. It was not a good time here. Oh, so bad. Jay Ferris seems to be a good wide receiver this spring. Yeah, still young. Still takes some time to get that all figured out. We'll see what he does. Is Anders going to be healthy for the start? If not, the backup wasn't bad. Well, the great thing is if he's not, there's 4 games and he can still redshirt. So I think we feel comfortable with where we're at. Obviously, you want to redshirt your kickers. You want to save your kickers eligibility for as long as you can. So that's less years that you have to go and recruit a kicker. Because usually you should only be doing it every 3 years and going to get the best one out there, which Auburn consistently does. It's been the Carlsons. It's been Parkey. It's been Wes Byram. You can keep going all the way down to Damon Duvall as long as I've been watching, and beyond that, Aldo Greco. They've had great kickers for a long, long time. So I hope that we can redshirt him and we don't have to use him more than those 4 games. Is he going to be ready? That's a significant injury to come back from for a kicker, for anybody, but especially for a kicker. That requires stability of the ankles, of the legs, all that kind of stuff. It scares me that most of the linemen are leaving next year and we already are not good at run blocking. We need to be better recruiting on offensive linemen. I agree with you on the offensive lineman recruiting. Just because they're all leaving doesn't mean that's a bad thing. And please, when I say that, if there's offensive linemen here, that doesn't mean I don't love you. And that doesn't mean that I don't think you guys can't get better, but it hasn't happened yet. So I am hoping with a passion that I will get the biggest dose of shut up juice that I can come on here every single week and apologize to these offensive linemen. I don't even think I've been rude about it, but just because they're leaving doesn't mean that's necessarily a bad thing. However, if they turn it on this season, that is a bad thing. But I'm going to reserve judgment until then. Kick 70-yarders. Yeah, he almost kicked a 70-yarder in high school. High Fly just got back from a 3-day, I guess you mean, field trip. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging in. Neil, we have been all over the place, my friend. We started with baseball. We've talked about Alan Green. We've talked about the new president. We've talked about football. We talked about basketball. What else have we talked about? I feel like we've been all over favorite games. People have been offering suggestions. If you've got a suggestion that you want me to cover on Ever the Podcast, that little mini series I've been doing in the mornings for you guys on video and audio, just type in ETP and your question, and I might tackle that in a future video. Because those are meant mainly just for no visuals really with outside of me being there, just me expounding my thoughts on it. But it's got to be something you can carry a conversation with myself with. War Eagle, good to see you, Kevin. You should bring back the 2-kicker on, or we should, on the 2-kicker onside kick. Well, if the thing calls for it, yeah. Been busy coaching my son's baseball team. The attorney's so proud of him. He hit a triple, double, and a single. Where's that home run for the cycle? James, I don't believe he made the 70-yarder. I think he just missed that. I could be wrong, but I don't think that he actually made the 70-yarder. How is the new football facility going? Well, you know what? I am kicking myself because I made a trip down to Auburn, and I meant to drive by and get you a video and visual report of that, and I failed you guys on that part. So it'll probably be, if Auburn makes a regional, host a regional in baseball, I will definitely be there for some of that. So that'll be the next time I give you a report on that. Seems like they're now starting to focus a lot of their attention on the inside, which is probably going to take the longest time in terms of how updated and intricate just the technology and the wiring that goes into what they've showed us so far. That's going to be the thing that takes the rest of summer. Seems like they've gotten a lot of the exterior work done. They've already started mapping out the practice field. So I think, unfortunately for us as the spectators, we're going to start seeing less and less visual signs of progress from the outside looking in. I'm hoping they're going to do some type of press event where they'll let press walk through, and I'm going to try my best to get credentials for that. I can't guarantee that. It's difficult sometimes. It just is. I won't get into that, but we'll see. I heard Arch Manning is coming to Auburn after he said he's going to the best college town. Well, wouldn't that be nice, right? Wouldn't that be nice? I remember Trey Smith embarrassing Bama on the goal line touchdown. What? That dude was a midget compared to others. Doesn't matter about the size in the dog. It doesn't matter about the size of the dog in the fight. It matters about the size of the fight in the dog. And that boy had some fight. Any thoughts on the Mercer game? You think we could win that game? Well, Kerry, I would say we should win that game. I believe that's our first game, right? If I have my dates correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. I got to start memorizing the schedule. I know we got 5 straight home games, so it should be Mercer. It should be Alabama State, something like that. Penn State, Missouri, LSU. I think I've got it down like that. But yes, I plan to be at the first game, and I hope for sure that thing's going to be a nice way to kick off the season. No cycle because he didn't get the 4th at bat. He did hit a home run last week. It counts. It counts in my friend. It counts. It counts. It counts. Kyle, I don't see well, no wonder nobody's been calling in. Well, it's up there. I see it right here. Maybe it didn't pin for some reason. All right, well, let me help you guys out. Let me give me a second here. Sorry about that if that's what's happened. Let's see, invite. Normally I have this prepared just in the off chance for an occasion like this, but was not prepared tonight. Everybody gets lazy in the off season, even me. All right, so I'm putting it in right now for you guys. If you would like to call in, it will be posted right here. My apologies if you cannot see it at the top of the chat. If you'd like to call in, remind me, and I'll keep giving you some reminders there. Do you think we'll see 2 quarterbacks for the first few games of this season? Only if we're killing somebody and they want to give them some time. So no, I think they'll pick their guy and stick with it, unless they're just terrible. I think Robbie Ashford should be used this year. I think there is something to that. You don't want to just leave athletes that seem to be that talented off the field. Problem is that you've got to be very careful about breaking confidence with your quarterbacks, especially, if they don't go with TJ Finley. You don't want to break Zach Calzada's confidence that he thinks the coaches and the players and the team has in him. At the same time, you look at the situation where he kind of let TJ almost take Bo's position, that kind of lit a fire under his butt. I think in that situation, it's much different because Bo had been there so long. It probably could have used one of those, hey, you're not invincible, dude. And it worked till he got hurt for the most part. The Texas A&M was not good, but yeah. Why is it not posting on Facebook the call-in link? That's interesting. Sorry about that. So I hope you guys can see that call-in link. I know we were probably being nice to Mercer, but let's end the game before halftime and score more than 24 points this time. Well, Yes, in an ideal world, that is what happens. However, yeah. Corey says it's highly unlikely that we run two quarterbacks at the same time. I don't think that's what he meant. I think he meant just in the game, kind of letting them both fight for it within game time position. I mean, they might do that. I think LSU is probably not in a good enough position right now as a program to come into Auburn, even the struggles they had, and beat them this year. So my guess is yes, we will beat LSU. I think Auburn has a high likelihood to go undefeated on that home stint. However, it's going to be tough with Penn State, and don't look past Missouri either. But yeah, I'm coming to the Missouri game. Well, I plan to be there too, Devin. So we're gonna have to plan a big meetup. Hope I can meet some of my E2C family. So excited for my first game in Auburn. Well, here's what I always tell, and Linda, when I saw her this weekend, I said this too. Even if we can't like officially say, here's where we're meeting up, we will always have an unofficial, maybe even an official, like I announced it, meetup at Tiger Walk at the Banner. I will always be there, barring unforeseen circumstances, right, probably 45 minutes before Tiger Walk at minimum, because I try to get my spot for the live stream for you all that like to watch that. So that will always be our official, unofficial meetup space. But maybe we'll actually like meet for lunch if the timing works right for me and stuff like that on a game day. At somebody's tailgate, if somebody wants to invite us to their tailgate. I have a few tailgates that I have open invitations to that I go to from time to time, but I don't want to like make that my usual haunt and make them feel like I'm taking advantage of them. Let's see. I hope it's the hottest, muggiest day of the year when Penn State shows up. I want to watch them cramp like Washington State in 06. Dang. Wow. Yes. I think those of us that'll be at the game are not wishing that. But you can bet your tail that it is going to be hot and muggy for entire. This is the frustrating thing about this schedule, is that as great as having 5 games in a row at home to start the season is, it's also frustrating because then that means we spend basically all of October, except for October 1st and like October 30th, away from Auburn. It's going to be very boring in October when it finally starts cooling down, if it starts cooling down. Back up. You guys are getting some questions in here. Let me figure out where I was at. Where was I? I wouldn't be surprised if we beat LSU on a Hail Mary. LSU game always ended close and weird. Well, that's the nature of the Tiger Bowl, as they like to call it. Let's see here. Tiger Walk. Keep playing with those gas prices. Everyone will enjoy Tiger Walk. Yeah, I know those gas prices are going to make it harder for some of y'all to make trips to Auburn. I hope it doesn't, but I understand completely. Unfortunately, in terms of running a business, those gas prices are hurting me. I try to make, outside of football season, a trip to Auburn at least monthly, and it's getting harder and harder to make that case outside of football and basketball season to do that because of those gas prices. It's taken a hit on the old business. Because I don't live super far away. I live far enough to have to fill up once or twice. Once, usually. Let's see here. We'll never forget that year we beat LSU without scoring a single touchdown. So you're thinking of 2004, because it was a 9. No, because we scored a touchdown in that one. You're thinking of 2017, because I was at that game in the upper deck. What a frustrating game that was. Let's see. Just buy a $100K Tesla Plaid. Just use those student loans to purchase it. My goodness. Oh, Neil, I am so sorry to hear that. But Bo Jackson made an appearance for his birthday. So amazing. Well, that is a unfortunately incredible story. I hate that that's how he had to meet him if that was his first time meeting him. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Cancer is no joke. It has affected my life not me yet, but personally, but my family too much. It's taken my father, it's taken my grandfather, plenty of other people I know. So sorry to hear that, man, but happy that Bo hopefully made his day a little bit brighter. Did my dad watch because he was still somewhat young back in Bo Jackson's days? I was born right after the Bo Jackson days. Well, roughly. 1985 was his last year at Auburn. I was born in 1987. So yes, my father watched Bo Jackson a lot. I think he even met him a couple of times. Cool thing about my dad, we'll just be all sad here for a second since he brought it up. My dad passed away from cancer 7 years ago. I think it is now 8 years, maybe. Yes, 8. And the year like the birthday that followed, which was several months that I had, the first birthday I had without him, we were cleaning out my dad's room of junk that he had, and figure out what he wanted to keep and all that kind of stuff of his. And in this box I found, and I've got it, where is it? It's unfortunate. I think it's right down there on the bookshelf. It is a signed SEC notebook, and when you flip the page over, it is a signature and a note from Bo Jackson to me that my dad got for me one of his first games at playing for the Kansas City Royals. And I found that like the birthday after, the first birthday without him. So it was incredible. Like, it was an awesome thing there. All right. Anyway, enough of the sad stories. Let's talk to our first caller tonight. Mr. Kevin, how are you doing, sir? Kevin?
War Eagle, Cal, how you doing?
War Eagle, buddy. How are you tonight?
Yeah.
We're getting a little delay, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind tonight?
I think Robbie Ashford might be the starting quarterback.
Why do you think Robbie Ashford? Why don't you think TJ? Why don't you think Zach Calzada? Why don't you think Holden Grenier? Why Robbie Ashford?
And Zach Casita, he might start the first game.
So you think
Mercer?
So you think Zach might start and then Robbie take the job over?
Yeah, against Penn State.
Okay. That's probably, it could be a possible scenario where that happens. My hope is that that doesn't happen, because if that happens, that means Auburn's struggling in some sense. In a perfect world, Auburn chooses their guy and it carries us forward to the rest of the season. So if that's Robbie, great. If it's Zach, great. If it's TJ, great. If it's Holden, great. But listen, I think they all have great options, right? I don't see a bad one in the barrel to pick from. I think there are some that have stronger cases than others, but I'm excited to watch this quarterback race unfold this season.
How about the running backs?
Well, I mean, we expect Tank, right, to be the main guy again this year. If Jarquez heals up, he'll obviously be number 2 right behind him. But then you've got guys like Damari Alston, who is working out. Did anybody else watch those social media posts from Kenny Irons? Brad Lester, I believe. I can't remember which one. One of the other Auburn running backs from the past working out at his place, and then Damari Alston and Tank are working together. So you kind of see like the Tank taking the other guy under his wing. That's a great thing to see. So I love that. I love where we're heading with running backs. What else you got?
I hope our softball team wins Friday evening.
Yeah, I think I predicted this in the video that I did. I think that they will win. We might have lost Kevin. Kevin, you can call back, buddy, if you'd like. But apparently we lost you on there. Just since he brought it up. There we go. Let me make sure. Maybe he can call back in. Just since he brought it up, softball, I think, is probably going to walk away from this losing in the second or in the finals of that regional. There's Kevin. Let's try one more time. Sorry about that, buddy. I don't know what happened. You still there?
I don't know what happened.
I said, to answer your softball question, I think that they will leave in the finals of that regional. So they'll probably ultimately lose to Clemson, the host team, but I think they'll get at least 2 wins on the weekend. Does that make sense?
They might win 2 games at the Super Regional too. If they
might
get that far.
They might. They got to get out of that regional though, buddy. They really do. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I've only got a few minutes left, Kevin, but I'm glad that you got to call in tonight. So thanks for checking in with us.
Baseball team doing great.
They are. I think we're having a little bit of a delay issue on there. So I do have to end the phone line tonight because it is getting a little bit later on there. But thanks we'll talk about baseball here since you answered, brought that question up. But thanks for calling in, buddy. War Eagle. Sorry about that, Kevin. Didn't mean to cut him off, but it is a little bit later than I thought it was. Yeah, baseball, I think obviously we talked about at the start. Big weekend series with Kentucky. How this goes is how they set themselves up for the postseason. So super excited to see what they can potentially accomplish this weekend and head off into postseason play, hopefully on a high note. It was Brad Lester. Thank you. Thank you guys for clarifying that. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I missed any other questions. My thoughts on Holden will absolutely not play at any game this year. I think they will save him for next year. I mean, that's in an ideal world. That is the hope, right? That is the hope, that you will not have to use him. All right. Last minute comments, questions, get them in rapid fire here. A couple things for you guys. If you haven't smashed the like button, it does help us out here on this channel. If you can, make sure you're watching all the videos we're putting out. Drop a comment, even if it's just a War Eagle. It really does help us get out there, help us grow real quick and become a bigger and better Auburn family. All right, since he just got in, I can only take a really quick question. Oh,
what's up, man?
Hey, man, you got like seconds to go. So
question I just got here, man. Dang.
I know. I'm so sorry, but I didn't want you to leave empty-handed. So what you got for me tonight?
Okay, Kevin. He said that Robbie Ashford's going to start. I believe he's going to start too.
You do think he will as well?
I sure do.
Awesome.
I really do.
We've got 2 in Robbie's camp.
I sure do. You know, he played at Hoover, and he was very good at Hoover.
I've heard a lot about his time at Hoover, and so I think he's definitely the fan favorite. I think there's no question about that. So if he does get the start, there's going to be a lot of hype around him.
Don't get me wrong. I don't hate none of the quarterbacks,
right.
But I just think Robbie's our best option right now.
He may be, and it's going to be an exciting offseason and an exciting quarterback race to watch as we get into fall. Hey, man, thank you for calling in. Hopefully we'll catch you a little bit more extended time next time.
I just want to tell you, tell that person that their family had cancer, that Auburn family's praying for.
Well said. Well said. Thanks, Bo. Thanks for calling in and mentioning.
God bless, man.
God bless you too. All right. Just wanted to. I hate like leaving without letting people especially those that call in, get an opportunity to at least say something. So that's why I wanted to let him in there real quick at the end. So thank you, Bo. Thank you, Kevin, for calling in. Thank you guys. Smash the like button on the way out. Check the links for the description. Next week, I will be on vacation. So you're going to see limited stuff here, kind of like last time. But my goal is to give you maybe a little bit more of something. Probably we'll have something go live at 8 p.m., a video you can watch just to remind you that we still do that next Wednesday. That's my hope and my goal, and probably on Monday evening at the very least too. Maybe some other things. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for being part of the best little family within the Auburn family here at the E2C Network, where we cover the whole of the Auburn experience. Love you guys. I'm going to miss you next week, but stay tuned to the channel for the rest of the week for all the content we still have coming out. Till then,